EDL Nation, EDL World. It's your commissioner. I'm back with another weekly, bi-weekly, semi-weekly episode, video, vlog, whatever the heck this is. But we're back with the EDL week. We're going into week 5. Week 5 coming at you. A lot of stuff to cover. It's been a couple weeks since I've been on with Tito last time. We were previewing our doubleheader week, which was week 3. So a ton of matchups that I'm not going to cover, but we're going to touch on a lot of what we missed over the past 2 weeks. A lot to talk about, a lot of numbers. Hopefully, I don't know how it's going to turn out, but hopefully it doesn't get too wordy. I feel like there's a lot of cool stuff in here. So hopefully it comes out how I imagine it and everything and whatnot. But we're gonna get right to it. First off, you can see is I'm alone. I like to record Wednesdays nights around 9 p.m. I can only really record around just right after 9 p.m. when the kids go to bed. If you want to be in one of these videos with me, please come on over. We can do it Wednesdays, or if a better night works for you, that works too. Just let me know if you want to be in a video. We'll get you on there. A couple little notes before we get into the past couple weeks. Week 6, remember that's when we have to extend our franchise tags by. So get that done. I'm not sure if it's before week 6, before their week 6 game. I'd have to look at the exact thing. I probably should have done that on the rules, but it's coming up. Just get that done beforehand, so it's not even an issue. Robbie, get Jordan Howard a contract. You think he's been franchised enough? Maybe we should put some in where you can't franchise him more than once, like 2 years tops, and then you can no longer franchise him. You gotta send him to free. I don't know. Probably won't even be anything that's an issue. Franchise tags are coming up. Penalties, slacking. I got tomorrow off. Hopefully, after my son's football game, I'll not fuck off and sit here and do some penalty work and get everything else done. The way I do it's pretty simple. You can just go look at the transactions, look at your team, and then you can sort by waiver add and drops, and then just regular add and drops. So that's how I follow it. If you want to go look to see what you kind of have next year, you can go look at the guys that you've dropped. Again, their contracts is half of what they had is what your penalty will be. That's how I'm going to track everyone, so you can kind of go look, and if you want to get an idea of where you're at before I have it posted, that's how you will find that out. Rosters. A couple of you guys have messaged me on some roster stuff. Keep those coming. I'll be working on it. Send me some stuff. Survivors, down to just me and Seward, Minnesota, and New England. Knocked a few of you out a couple weeks ago. Last week it was just me and Seward again. We're still rolling along strong. Winner of us, so we'll get that. I think that one's $10, $11, whatever it is. I'll take a look at it. But at the end of the season, we don't get to use it right away. Same with the confidence picks. Robbie's in a nice little league there. But about 8, I think I counted 8 of everybody is still, I'd say still in the hunt. So keep the confidence picks going. Remember to do those. All that good stuff. And yeah, again, just with what I'm going to talk about today, there was a lot of matchups, a lot of things to talk about. I'm going to skip all that, and we're going to preview next week's, but I want to talk about everything that happened and all of the scoring that's been going on, because it's been crazy. I saw a tweet, which I'm surprised I didn't save or send it to the group chat, but it said something like there's been 330 touchdowns scored already through the first 4 weeks of the season in the NFL, which is a record, I believe, if I saw it right, record for most scoring plays thus far. We've seen that in our scores fantasy-wise across the board. A lot of big numbers going up already this year. Our defensive changes I think we made last year and even a little bit the year before. Even now people are scoring more so than ever in the EDL. It's been a lot of fun. A lot of people rock and rolling. We're going to take a look at week 4, just the high points. The 300 Club now has 15 people. I snuck in there week 4. Ended up at 309.8. That's 10th overall. Also in week 4, Edwards, Plainview Crushers, 319.7. That's 6th overall. And Seward, Odd Forsaken, had 319.8. So just a 0.1 difference between those two. But Seward's in 5th. Edwards is in 6th. I snuck in there at 10th. Pete Wolf The Wolf already making a name. This was back in week 3, but 223.3, which is second all time. Wolf already putting himself in the record books with that new team name. And if you just look at just the scoring so far this year, 2 through 6 in the top 10 is from 2018, and then the 10th is from 2018. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of the scores. Quick math for you. That's a lot of high points going on here in just the first few weeks of this season. Also look at, this was last week, week 4, so a player that made the top 10 list. 7th, Mitchell Trubisky. Edwards kind of getting lucky on that start because Cam Newton was on a bye, but put up 55.9 points. That's 7th overall. Had 354 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, 53 rushing yards on 3 carries. Trubisky out of nowhere getting on the top 10 list and was started. What else is going on? The matchups. We got to get to talking about the matchups. Seward and Pete, we're backtracking to week 3. Definitely 2 contenders, definitely 2 heavyweights going at it. Top 1 and 2 if you look at the power rankings, the all play, everything. They're pretty good. It looks like they're leading out the first few weeks of the season pretty freaking strong. Maybe a Super Bowl preview, I don't know. But they both put up a dog fight. Big time scoring. 622.3 points scored. That's the most ever. 323.3 of them. That was the number 2 overall score. Pete, we just talked about that. Seward put up 299, which that is the 299 is the most in a loss that's ever happened, which just significant. And just the scoring, it wasn't a blowout. Both teams put up a crazy amount of points. So big day by Pete, big day by Seward. And if you look at Seward's all play, it's I think 40-3 or 39, and he only has 3 losses and he has 2 real losses. So that's tough. 4 other matchups outside of Pete and Seward this year in points scored has made the top 10. So if you go look at the top 10 points scored in the matchups combined, 5 of them should be from 2018. Other people throwing it down, having some big old matchups to start the year. What else do we got? And also on the flip side, we talk about that being a tight score between Seward and Pete. We've had some beatdowns so far. Pete Wolf over Tito. That was that last week, but that's the 8th overall point margin of victory. So he had like 130 point spread between victory. Pete putting a beating on Tito for 8th overall, biggest margin of victory. And then also Edwards over the new guy, no name, Chris Anderson, also getting on the beatdown report, 9th overall, widest margin of victory. Both those guys sneaking in a top 10 list on another way. Still moving along. Okay, let me keep going. How many? I've done like 5 minutes of just talking numbers. Hopefully this doesn't suck. Looking at just points scored and what's been going on so far. Seward right now, and just the teams, it's crazy. He's put up in 4 weeks 1,207.8 points. That is the most ever in the EDL through the first 4 weeks. Pete has put up 1,135.4 points. That's the second most ever through the first 4 weeks. Edwards, 1,068.6 points. That's the third most ever through the 4 weeks. And then myself, 1,029.3. That's 5th. Rupp snuck back in. He must have had a crazy year back in 2016. But that's 4 of the top 5 ever through the first 4 weeks are from 2018. Seward, we talked about him having 2 losses on kind of the bad luck. He has 1,334.9 points against, which is far and away the most ever through the first 4 weeks. 6 others, though, are in the top 10 points against. So the scoring it's been crazy. And then one last note on scoring and just talking about what people are doing, just chomping some numbers. Looking at the weekly summary, we're going to go back 2 years ago. Just the average score per week. So this was in 2016. It was 213 in week 1. Week 2 was 214. Then 222 in week 3, 209 in week 4. So it looks like it's hovering about 210. Went up a little one week, 215 down the other. We go to last season. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, 203, 204, 214, and 204 again. So lower last season than probably the 215 average. Maybe this one's closer to 205 to 210. But then we're going to look at this year, which I don't have that pulled up. We're getting to it in 3, 2. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, 234, 231. 236 and 241. That's a big difference. 20-point difference scoring on average per week. There's been 12 teams. There's been 4 weeks, so 12 teams per week. 48 scores that have happened so far. 14 of them have been 210 or below. So that means about 70% of the time everyone's scoring over 210. So, yeah, I think 225 may be the new 200. 310 may be the new 300. And there's just a lot of point scoring with all the new rule changes in the EDL and as well as the NFL. It might be something new that we see. So everyone's kind of doing the point scoring. Everything's going on and everyone's playing well. I'm enjoying it. And yeah, that's a lot. Hopefully that didn't suck. But I'm going to preview what's going on in this first coming week, or week 5. We got 2 teams that are still undefeated, myself and Wolf. He's over there killing it in the Central Division. Our division's tough. We're the only division with 3 teams over 500. And then up top, everyone's lost. We got a 3-2, 2-3, 2-3. So tight, lot of good matchups. But week 4, already the Thursday night game has happened. So I got a little pre-snap read going into this. But let's break it down, get this video over with, because I'm all by myself. But the first matchup we're going to look at is Glory Hole, Mr. Rupp versus Scroat Squad Cameron. Rupp has had 2 players go so far, 2 defensive players, and they have only combined for 8.2. One of those was a DN, Trey Flowers. The other one was his linebacker who got hurt for the Colts. That sucks. That's a tough start. You're not out of the woods because obviously you're offensive heavy, but that's rough. Looking at Cam's side here, 31 points from Ebron, almost 13 from Edelman. That's 44 to start with, 44.2 to 8.2. Both of them having 17 left. Cam, you're in great shape. I think you can pull this one off. If you do, Rupp goes to 2-4. I don't know if we've ever seen Rupp at 2-4 or even just that span of a handful of losses. I got Cam so far in this one. We're going to my matchup. We got myself versus Mac and Jax. He came out with, he's got 2 people to go. I had 2 people to go. He had James White, who apparently, I saw another tweet on him over the last 9 games for the Patriots. He has 8 touchdowns, and he is the leading receiver over that same span as well. I'm sure Gronk's missed some games. We know Edelman's missed some games, so it's probably not the most straightforward tweet, but James White's killing it. He put up 24 points. He only had a DN that put up a couple. I am leading this one right now still with Nyheim Hines putting up almost 20 and Chester Rogers putting up almost 15. But it's close. I think this one's going to come down. It's going to come down to the end here. I'm going to go with myself, but he had a good start. And Matt's got a good team too. I think his record's 2-3, but his all play he's over 500 on his win percent. So expecting that one to come down to the wire. We got, let's see, Edwards and Robbie. Robbie's got no one to go. He's clean. Edwards so far has had 3 people go. Does he have 3 people go? Oh, Marcus Hunt got hurt, so he took a 0 ball, only got 9 from his kicker. Sony Michel getting himself 20 points. That's 2 weeks in a row from the Rook getting over 20 fantasy points. And he has a couple touchdowns, one this week, one the week before. got to be pretty nice getting him to come around. Edwards' teams looks dope. Robbie's team, I like what you're doing. I like a lot of the new stuff. I think it's getting better, but Edwards is a strong matchup here. I'm going to go with Edwards. Next matchup, we got Chris Anderson. A team has no name. Wonder when it will get a name. He's got no one to go. DZ has had one player to go, Snakes on a draft. 6 for 58. Ryan Grant putting up about 12 points. I could see where you're coming from on that start, having no T.Y. Hilton on the field. This one's probably going to be pretty even here. I'm going to go with DZ. DZ's got more offensive firepower, it looks like he's starting with. I think DZ's getting a win here. Next matchup, we got straight cash, homie. Casey already having 3 players go. Got to feel pretty good about his start. Getting 60 points. 33 from Tom Brady, 13 from Josh Gordon, 13 from Rob Gronkowski. Pete's had 1 player go. Jabal Sheards, a defensive end, only 3. Obviously nothing there, but you can afford to airball defensive end. This one should be if Casey. All right. I don't like Casey's matchups. You got 2 of his running backs against Baltimore, both Cleveland, Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson. And then Zeke Elliott's against Houston. They could potentially stop the run. If by chance they have good games, this could be a really good matchup here. I'm going to still side with the Wolf. He's been killing it. But this one's got to be a sneaky close matchup at the end, in my opinion. Last one we're looking at here, we got Chris Seward, who's had 2 players go. And then Tito, who's had none. Seward's only had 1 person go, but you can get your kicker in. That would be nice of you. And then you would have 18 left. Chris Hogan, 6.4. Chris Hogan sucks. I don't know. I thought he was supposed to be dope. But Chris Hogan, definitely fantasy letdown. I still like Seward's squads here. Tito, yet to get a win. Tito, let's get you a win before the season's over. Before you start selling all your pieces. I got Seward, and that is all the matchups. And yeah. Oh, damn, that was a long one. Thanks for listening. Commish here. Realest fantasy dynasty league ever out there. Catch y'all hopefully next week. Hit me up if you want to get in one of these videos. Peace.